Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Supply Chain Matters podcast, hosted by Bob Ferrari. Supply Chain Matters has consistently been recognized as one of the top internet blogs in the field of supply chain management. Our goal in this podcast series is to provide the best insights and thought leadership from guests experienced and knowledgeable in supply chain management. Areas to be discussed include business processes, advanced technology, and various industry and individual business product demand and supply networks. And with that, here's your podcast host, Bob Ferrari.
Welcome to this inaugural first episode of the Supply Chain Matters podcast, Insights in Business Process and Advanced Technology. I am Bob Ferrari, and I will serve as moderator and host of this series. For those of you who do not know of me, I essentially wear two hats. For over 16 years, I have been a highly recognized supply chain management industry analyst in the field of supply chain businesses and operating processes, and their associated supporting software, B2B supply chain networks, and operations layer technologies. My other presence has been as the founder and executive editor of the Supply Chain Matters blog. Over the past 12 years, the blog has been consistently recognized by our readers, as one of the top blogs in the areas of supply chain management. We sincerely thank all of our readers for that recognition. Now, with this episode 1 podcast, we add another milestone, and I want to inform listeners on this first episode of our objectives and goals in this communication medium, as well as an overview of some of the topics we hope to explore. First, this is a supplement to the various content that is already published on Supply Chain Matters, and that will continue. The format of podcast is such that we can provide a more conversational exchange of viewpoints among featured guests regarding important topics, in a format that is convenient and in a medium that's a little bit more conducive for back and forth exchange. And we hope the listeners will get some benefit from that as well. Our goals for the various subsequent podcast episodes will be to provide additional depth regarding global and regional supply chain business and technology trends and developments, a balanced and in-depth view of critical topics related to various industry supply chain management opportunities and/or challenges, the opportunity to hear noted experts and thought leaders speak to broader trends related to global trade or geopolitical developments, advanced technology research, and the future of various multi-industry supply chains. We will feature guests with either business and corporate, advanced technology, academic, noted thought leader, and other backgrounds. We will delve into topics behind the headlines, such as emerging trends, organizational change management and advanced technology adoption challenges, structural supply chain disruption and the technology and business implications of those, the notions of what I continue to describe and advocate as the emergence of both customer demand and supporting global and regional supply networks. The perspective here is that it is no longer a linear supply chain, but rather associated networks, all residing in the cloud. How this is advocated to senior management and other cross-functional management teams is critically important, and we will dive into some of those areas. The ongoing COVID-19 coronavirus disruption that is impacting so many multi-industry customer demand and supply networks is another important topic of conversation. I will seek out guests with in-depth experience and perspective that can cut through the deluge of business media headlines and provide our listeners with some helpful insights. Now, for the remainder of this initial podcast, let me additionally set the stage with a year 2020 perspective. In early January, as we do with each and every year, we publish to our clients and readers our annual predictions for industry and global supply chains. Our overall theme entering 2020 was to anticipate a year of high uncertainty, along with indications of a cautious economic outlook, notably with prominent downside geopolitical and financial risks. We highlighted noted economists and CFO survey data pointing to the real threat of global recession by late 2020 or the early 2021 time period. Now, as all of you listening probably well know by now, in the matter of 2 months, COVID-19 turned our theme of uncertainty and caution to that of full-blown global recession and disruption to levels beyond those that we had not seen in quite a long time. Like many of you listening, it became rather apparent that the overall scope and implications would be something different. And that is an area that we continue to explore, not only on the blog and our postings there, but we will also explore from a conversational perspective with various guests. Other themes we hope to also include in this podcast series, certainly for the next few months, are the continued unparalleled levels of global supply network management challenges, especially components and products produced in China. The pandemic literally laid bare an overdependence on China for certain supply chains, most notably personal protective equipment, drugs and medicines, high-tech and consumer electronics, and other industry supply chains. Going into this year, 2020, we had escalated trade tensions among the United States and China. And in the Phase 1 agreement that was signed towards the end of the year, I think there was a lot of hope that, that could be at least put to rest. Well, now we're seeing signs of increased escalations in that front as well. So we need to explore that in some of our conversational areas. For the past 3 years, we have cited supply chain talent management as a consistent challenge. And entering 2020, our prediction was that strategies would turn more towards retention and reskilling as headcount budgets became more constrained. The virus and the consequent severe economic disruption adds a new dimension towards retaining needed talent or in reskilling talent, and what skills would be in most demand. So we hope to explore that area as well from various dimensions. Our belief heading into the year was that supply chain digital transformation strategies and advanced technology investment strategies, while continuing to have strategic focus, would likely turn more near-term or towards laser-focused objectives driven by business priorities. Now, COVID-19 has likely added new dimensions, and in some cases, accelerated imperatives for digital technology investment or transformation. In our sessions, we'll explore viewpoints from businesses, technology providers, and market observers relative to such changing priorities. We will focus on direct and candid conversation related to specific areas of technology, such as artificial intelligence and machine learning, Internet of Things, blockchain, B2B supply chain networks, data governance and management, and other technology topics as well. Impacts to online customer fulfillment and what we have termed as digitally enabled response networks is another important area of discussion. And here again, COVID-19 implications of many consumers now turning more towards online channels for everyday shopping needs, including consumer staples, food and grocery, bring certain implications for that area as well, and we should get into those. What that implies for existing infrastructure, technology, and headcount needs is also a consideration. Finally, the disruption and impacts on global and domestic logistics and transportation networks is an important topic, particularly investment areas related to robotics, in-store or dark store automated fulfillment, or the reality of same-day delivery commitments when networks are overwhelmed are certainly topics that are top of mind right now. So that's just a sampling of some of the topics we certainly want to get into. And as events continue to evolve during the coming year, we'll get into other areas as well. So stay tuned for upcoming announcements related to our future episodes, including 2 additional episodes coming very shortly. Please feel free to contact me with requests for additional topics and our speakers you would like to be part of our podcast series, and if you also want to be included in the podcast series. So in the meantime, this is Bob Ferrari signing off for now until our next episode of the Supply Chain Matters podcast.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Supply Chain Matters podcast, hosted by Bob Ferrari. For further information and insights, please visit our websites, www.theferrarigroup.com or the Supply Chain Matters blog at www.supply-chain-matters.com. Thanks again for listening, and goodbye.